Hi, this is Hugh Crumpler. Welcome to the May-June bass catching report. Actually, these are photos of all the bass my client, not all the bass, but all the larger bass that my clients caught while fishing Stick Marsh and Farm 13 during May and June of 2014. You notice there's some really nice fish, some really different changes in the weather, and some different locations that we've been fishing. During May, you'll find that this is a transition period, that the fish are starting to school and chase bait. They're starting to move to deeper water. However, once it gets closer to June, then we have our rainy season starting. And when this happens, the probability of the spillways running is great. And that's what happened. A lot of times we had the spillway running. Here are the folks from Full Gospel Baptist Church. They'd had an awesome day. As you can tell, the lady got so excited she flipped the water in the boat sideways, catching this big old bass. You know, there were a lot of nice bass caught during May and June. People who think summertime fishing is tough, hey, we catch them all day long. Don't matter. Shiners, live bait, even artificial lures. You can catch them on chug bugs, bomber long A's, rattle traps, Carolina rig. All depends on the situation. Stick-o without weight. Whatever it takes, we're willing to do it. You know, my philosophy is book the trip, and when you get here, when you get close to getting here, I'll tell you what the fish are doing, then you tell me how you want to catch them. It's more important than anything is the weather on the day you're going fishing, and nobody can do that. I do know when the sun rises that I know I've been blessed by the Lord. It's another day above ground, another day on the water. On top of the water, kind of catch what's in the water. You can see that topped out grass where it's real smooth. You can also see a couple of gators out there if you look real close. And you know, the ability to see wildlife is tremendous here at Stick Marsh. Not only do you catch it and participate in it, but you get to see a lot of wildlife that you're not catching, like birds and ducks and alligators and just whatever, all kinds of stuff out there. You get to listen to them, talk to you. Some people think they're frogs, some people think they're pigs, whatever they are, they're croaking. That object on the left that looks like a log is a gator. There's a hawk at the parking lot. Got pretty close. Didn't get a very good focus on the picture, but got the hawk. He was just sitting right there waiting for us. I don't think I've ever gotten that close to a wild hawk before. And there's a photo just to show you that there are smaller bass in Stick Marsh and Farm 13. They aren't all just great big huge giants, although that's what we like. Young man here had a fine fishing trip. Fine fishing trip. It's all good. It's all great. It's all Stick Marsh and Farm 13. You got to be here. You got to love it. This place is awesome. You know, Bassmaster rated it 42. That's a bunch of bunk. It ought to be rated number one. It's number one in this state. I can guarantee you that. And they're building two more, one to the south, one to the east, and those are going to be the number 2 and number 3 best bass fishing lakes in this state. And we'll have all three of them right next to each other. Talk about exciting fishing. These fish, they just grow and eat and grow and eat and eat and eat and grow and grow. And we get to catch them and look at them every day. We even help feed them when we use live shiners. That's a nice little double, father and son. You know, come down here, give us a call, book a trip. You could be next. These fish are awesome. Don't have to wear the life jackets when you're fishing. These people just chose to. I like for people to wear them while the big engines cranked up and running. There's my good friend Gary Clark. Gary, we go fishing quite a bit. Gary does really good. This is a friend of his, Art. Art did really well too. Man, that's a nice fish. You know, people think the only time you can catch them big fish is in the winter. That's a bunch of monkey bugs. You can catch them big fish anytime you want to come here. They don't shrink. They don't disappear. They're here. Some days are diamonds. Some days are bigger diamonds. It's fantastic down here at the Stick Marsh. We've got this running water. Anytime you see something, you hear about rain or something, don't let that scare you away. It may rain across the street, but not on your side of the street. Of course, it may rain on your side of the street, but all that about the rain keeps that spillway open and running. And when that puppy's open and running, the bait moves in, the bass moves in, and the catching is on. Locals watch that like a hawk. That's what they want to do, is catch those easy to catch fish. We have 16 and 20 fish days and think it's a terrible day. And we're not talking small fish, we're talking decent sized fish. People around here spoiled. 50, 60 fish a day for local guys is just normal. This is huge fish. That's my business right there. Hugh Crumpler's Florida Trophy Pro Bass Fishing. www.hugh-crumpler.com. Be sure to put the dash in there. This is the world's best bass catching. Contact me, HughCrumpler3@gmail.com, or give me a call, 321-626-6174. Remember, you could be next. Excuse me. I got the coffin to go fishing. I need to go. In fact, I'm going in a couple of days. Tomorrow I'll get a veterans breakfast. Art did pretty good. He was here for 3 days, caught a bunch of nice fish. He was blessed with some good weather, some good fishing. This is May. The man's wearing sweat clothes and a jacket. This what you hear about Florida being hot is not necessarily the case. Now you see him take it off. Just making me like I'm not telling the truth. But the weather is nice and comfortable here. Yes, it does get hot, but it don't stay hot for forever. And it don't start out the day hot. This man did a nice job early in the morning, as you can see. Very nice bass. Another very nice bass. This guy here, he works for Cher. Yeah, the singer. Can't remember what his job. Lighting director. That was it. Yep. And he's down here catching fish while Cher's singing around. Sure glad you came to town, because I got to meet these guys. Take them out and catch bass. I mean, they caught bass and had a blast. That's what it's all about, is catching bass and having a good time. That's what we try to strive for, keeping a good time catching fish. I'll tell you what, it don't get any better than Stick Marsh. That rod in that man's right hand is about 20, 25 years old. It's one of the Shimano original Canis rods. Them things were unbelievable when they first came out. I've rewrapped it twice, put new guides on it, done everything. Tip gets a little shorter every once in a while, but that rod is a fantastic rod. In fact, I got 3 like that. Don't get any better. Good old shiner rod. That thing was 250 back in 92, 93, somewhere around there. That's a really nice rod. There's 3 of them. There's 2. You can see 2 of them there. You also see another nice bass. I'm sure that's what you're looking at. It's the bass, not the rod. I don't blame you. These puppies are nice. Yeah. We're gonna go fishing. Yeah, I think I'll go fishing instead of do this talking on the video. I'd rather be fishing, catching, helping somebody catch fish, but I gotta do this once in a while. I'm so far behind with doing these videos. I'm doing May and June together to get caught up. Of course, I took a 2-week vacation in June, so there aren't a whole lot of June fishing. This man here is older than dirt, and he was down here catching fish, having a blast. It was part of his bucket list to come to Stick Marsh and catch fish, and we got that one out of the bucket, so it's not on his list. But now that he's been and caught them, it's on his bucket list to come back. Can't blame the man. Can't blame the man. Now here's one of me sideways. It didn't come sideways. Yeah, there it is. I figured we ought to get a picture of that fish in there. Nice fish. There's another one coming up here. You know, this is a type of bomber long A that I use. I like ones with clear sides and gold on the inside. Seems like the fish like to hit through the side to get to the inside of it, so you get a better chance to hook up. There's Gary. He can use a long A too. That's one of the top lures in stick marsh is a bomber long A, a 15A bomber. Gold inside, bomber calls it chartreuse, orange belly, black back. I put a red stripe down the back so I could see it. I put Gamakatsu hooks on them so they get hooked better. This is Kevin from just south of here. He did pretty good. We had artificial fishing day. Did pretty good. There's Gary with a nice fish. Tell you what, this place, Stick Marsh, is loaded with bass. It's 100% catch and release by state law. That's why there's so many. That's why they're so big. You know, I lived in Missouri and I had 3 7-pound fish over 35 years. I moved to Florida and I caught a 9, a 9, a 7. It didn't take me long to figure out that if you're going to catch a big fish, you have to fish where big fish are. And anybody can catch them if they're in the lake. Anybody's got a chance. But if there are not any in the lake, you ain't going to catch none. And I promise you, there's lots of big fish in Stick Marsh. Lots and lots of big fish. And we know where they are and how to catch them. And sure, they move around, but so do we. And proper technique, the proper presentation. It sounds silly when you're using live bait, but it's extremely important. And the proper hook setting, these folks here got it down. They came down from Kentucky and they had a blast, an absolute blast. Big fish after big fish and lots of them. Spillway wasn't running this day, which is kind of surprising, but boy, I'll tell you what, the fish were running. They were running and eating and gobbling and chasing bait and wore me out just trying to bait the hooks for them. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Yep. Now this young man came down. Dad brought him down. The dad kind of holding the rod in between catching, and the boy, he caught over 100 bass by himself. That was a double. That was a double he caught by himself. We had 2 rods out, and he caught one. It held the fish, and the other one was just screaming away. Unbelievable. That's another fish. This young man, he tore him up. He had an absolute blast. He tore him up. Poor fish just didn't know what to do. We showed up with 4 dozen shiners. They lasted 2 hours. We ordered 6 dozen more. They delivered them, and those lasted about 3.5 hours. Fish just ate and ate and ate and ate. You know, you just get one of them days. It's something in the weather. There's a high blue sky, and the professional fishermen say it's the hardest time to catch fish. Not for this young man. He tore them up. Mr. Illinois come down here and he just tore them up. Big fish after big fish and fish after fish. This was another double. There's a man caught a double all by himself one time with a crankbait. You don't see that very often, especially that size fish. This young man was grandson. His grandma brought him down. It was a day of bass catching. Just remember, 321-626-6174. Hugh Crumpler, the number 3 at gmail.com. Give me a call. You could be next.